Just a bit more. Gosh, my hair in the humidity of Louisiana. I think it needs cutting and styling and dyeing. But anyway, so this is from my seventh novel that I'm currently figuring out. I've written quite a bit of it, but I need to research more. And it's based in New Orleans, and it's a ghost story. Here's a section from the beginning. We were too young when we met, and hardly knew one another at all. But since then we have been through every battle together. We fight each other and we fight the world side by side. There are glass French doors all along one side of the ballroom. I see one huge magpie land on the back porch. Good evening, I say to him as a reflex. I have heard that voodoo and Catholicism are inextricably linked, due to the poor folks who were transported here and sold as if they were not human beings. Their magic was named for the colour of their skin, by pasty people who believed that they had the right to control, slaughter and maim. The second magpie flies down. She is a little smaller, but no less determined. They scratch at the venue lawn, which is long and yellow. The darkness of the dance floor and the smoke machine smoke makes it like a dream. Seeing out through the windows to the twilight is reassuring somehow. I can see the late evening sky, and it gives me a landmark, or maybe a searchlight. The lights go out for a second too long, and someone cuts the music. There is a scream. There is a huge wooden voodoo mask for sale in a store in town. I forget which street. I know I walked one day the length of Magazine and arrived, sweating, in front of the carved face with the staring eyes. In amongst the art galleries, so it might have been royal. The mask seems to hum with an ancient magic, although for all I know it was produced last week in a tourist factory. So when the lights flash on for a second, then die again, we all see that the masked intruder is wearing the wooden voodoo mask. Who is he? Why is he dressed that way? I grab Ophelia and push her behind me. I can't see in the dark whether this madman has a gun, but it is safe to assume that he does. Don't let go of me, I try to shout to Ophelia, and she gets hold of my hand in the dark. There are shouts and screams, and I can hear this guy barging into people on the dance floor. The only place I can think of to go is towards the French windows, just about visible through the gloom. I haul Ophelia through the crowd towards the moonlight. There is a handle and a catch on the white painted metal frame of the doors, and I manage to yank it till the door is ajar. The doors don't seem to have been used as an exit for years, so the opening has layers of paint over it. But with a squeak, I manage to fling it wide open. Ophelia and I all but explode out into the night. We stumble and end up falling onto the wet lawn out there. I fall flat on my face, and Ophelia knocks the wind out of me, landing on my back. What the hell was that thing, she wants to know. I love how her first response is not so much fear as anger. My fiancé is pissed. Some robber, I guess. But what did he want, and how did he turn the lights out? Now that we have managed to open the side entrance doors, other people decide to exit the building that way. We struggle to our feet before we get trampled. And then there's a section from a bit later. I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but Ophelia has disappeared, and Wayne is something of an unreliable narrator, so we don't know where she's gone or what's happened to her. This is all from his point of view, and I decided to write this novel in the present tense. Personally, I quite like that on occasion because I feel it gives the action a bit of immediacy. Anyway, see what you think. I'm sitting at a bar on a high stool, slurping fat oysters. Was it New Orleans I fell in love with, or was it her? God or the universe or karma or Ophelia's ghost, something is now forcing me to live through exactly what she had experienced, so that now I could understand, even though before I could not, when understanding might have saved her. I asked Ophelia how it was that she had forgiven me. She told me that there are times when your husband is not good enough, and that is when you must believe in your marriage instead. There is a pretty Cajun waitress called Sunflower. She is visibly not wearing a bra. I signal for another cocktail. I used to drink the one they call the Midas Touch, or glitter and pizzazz. Now I get the stormy, or the sour. She took our marriage vows so seriously. She believed that God had married us. The sanctity of our marriage kept her faithful and loyal, even when my conduct was unforgivable. These oysters are the best in the world. I believe that, even though I have no proof. Each one is a joyous nugget of salt and protein. I order them in pairs on their steel plate of ice chippings. Each time I finish 2, I call out for another 2. 2 by 2. Sunflower can't keep them coming fast enough for my hunger. We cling to the things we know we will lose, the things we know that are not for us, the things we break and the things we steal. I look for evidence that Ophelia loved me, that my mother did, that my father did. How do you ever know for sure? My obsession with my uncle keeps me preoccupied in that sultry place. Our house is surrounded by swamp creepers, and the water table is so high that sometimes our home on stilts seems to have a green moat. Ophelia had begged me to look at her and to really see her. She thought I was crazy. She thinks this murder mystery I think about day and night is destroying my mind. I suggest she divorces me. She says I would no more divorce you than I would cut off my own hand. She waves the hand that still wears the rings I gave her. One for the promise, one for the word. I would not divorce you, even if you do not love me, even if I never see you again. As my marriage certificate is proof that you are mine and I am yours. We wander around the French Quarter with our beautiful child in a stroller. There is an art gallery we hadn't noticed before, and the owner motions for us to come in. He is set up for a private view, but no one has come because of the storm. We live here now and venture out, even when there are flood warnings appearing on our phones. We eat the food he got for the guests that didn't arrive. It seemed especially cruel that Ida hit on the anniversary of Katrina. We couldn't drive our car through the floodwaters that were rising and filling the street. We had to abandon it and rush with our son back home, knowing that a mandatory evacuation order had to be on its way. I held our little son cradled in my arms while Ophelia held the folded bush chair, and we slopped our way through the ankle-deep water back to our house. Bio St. John was far too high. Keeping my eye out for gators, I led my wife towards our porch that was raised on stilts. We need our to-go bag and another car. We hadn't had to evacuate before, and I was not sure where we would go. We didn't know anyone in another state and didn't really have the money for hotels. I remember the night she said, "Babe, we're pregnant." So it was that we ended up back in London with our new son. My son might look exactly like me, but he is a very different person. He does not fly into a rage as I do. I hide my drinking from him. Not knowing where Ophelia is hurts my soul. I long for her. Everywhere I look, somehow I think I see her dark blue eyes gazing back at me, but she is not there. She seems not to be anywhere. I have tried everything. I phone her cell over and over, leaving messages. My stomach is in a knot. I don't dare look at her social media, as the fear of seeing that she is with another man is more than I can bear. I was angry as a young man, using my sense of the Christian warrior to fuel my force. I felt righteous justice was the reason I had been put on this earth. Ophelia was soft and emotionally vulnerable, which seemed worth fighting for. I only open up once the thing is definitely over. It helps keep me safe to wait until I'm retreating and then feel exposed. I only chase when the other person has already gone.